Thanks for staying with us. As promised, let's go to this conversation now and speak to the ACDP on the Multi-Party National Convention. This follows, of course, that signing of the Multi-Party Charter for South Africa. And we're speaking to Reverend Kenneth Meshoe, who joins us live now. Thank you so much, Reverend, for your time. And I'm sure you've been watching developments of what's coming out of Kempton Park. Let's start with your impressions.
Well, good evening to you, Bongi, and to all the listeners, all those who are watching, and all those who love the future of this country. Love this country and also want to see a prosperous South Africa. It is a good thing for political parties to discuss about how to unseat the ANC. Every political party worth its salt must desire to see the ANC that has destroyed our former first-class infrastructure removed from power. They have done so much damage. So all of us want to see the ANC out. But now, the reason why the ACDP is not in Kempton Park right now and not part of these coalition discussions is because internationally, the normal practice is to have coalition discussions after the elections, when the strength of each party is known, and not before. And that's what we told our colleagues, that once you say after the elections, let us talk, we will all be willing to talk. So for now, we did not see the reason of participating because a number of parties that are participating now might not be there. And then after the election, you'll have more parties who will qualify to have seats in parliament who will be there. So rather than spend time now with something that we are not convinced is workable because it's not done internationally, it's better for us to say, let's wait for the elections results, because when we have the results and know who is stronger than who is qualifying to be part of the coalition, then we can talk about that. Now, the second thing, maybe let me mention this, Bongi, that caused us not to participate, even though it was partly answered. The question was, whose policies are you going to promote during campaigning? Because I heard the leader of the Freedom Front Plus saying there is going to be another coalition meeting. So this is not the serious one, this is the initial one, but the main one, the most important one, is the one that will take place after the elections. And the ACDP is ready to participate in that one because we truly also want to see the back of the ANC. The ANC leaving seats and giving opposition parties or a multi-coalition parties coming together in order to give South Africa a better and a greater future.
Reverend Meshoe, listening to your first answer, it sounds like you say this was a waste of time.
For me, definitely, because if this is a good idea, the question is, South Africa, we are just having a democracy. We are just starting with a democracy. Other countries have not been doing that. So why don't we learn from other political parties and other nations that have been running democratic elections and also coalitions before the South African political parties?
When we spoke the last time, I remember just after the Moonshot Pact was announced, you had a problem with that Moonshot Pact and the fact that you were saying at that time that it appeared as if, the Democratic Alliance is playing Big Brother still and all of that. Now, they have agreed to have a multi-party charter for South Africa. And for you, does that change your mind, kind of, in terms of the dominance of the Democratic Alliance?
You know, we appreciate their shifting. This is not an imposition on opposition parties, because the parties that are in Kempton Park discussed and they agreed to come to that concept. When they came with the moonshot, it was their idea that was not negotiated. That's why we rejected it. But now we are open. But the important thing is we are willing to listen and to talk, but signing before the election, signing anything, I don't think that is going to be a good idea, because I also heard Mr. Steenhuisen saying when he was asked whether there's going to be a multi-party charter manifesto, he said, no, every political party will have its own manifesto. The fact is, when we are in elections, the discussions and the debates are robust. We are not going to kiss each other. We are not going to be patting each other on the back. We are going to be robust. And so we do not want people to say, but you are going against what other political parties have said. Other charter, the political party charter is saying we want to have the liberty and the freedom to represent our members, our voters, our supporters, and all South Africans who like the ACDP. We want them to know this is what the ACDP is saying. And until we know what they are saying, I will not commit myself. The ACDP will not commit itself. We will go through that charter that they have agreed about and they have signed. And after going through it, we'll discuss about whether before we should consider, or the neutral position we've taken right now for waiting after the election will still be a better option for us. So we'll discuss that once we have the charter in our hands.
It sounds like a wait-and-see approach then for the ACDP. Thank you so much, Dr. Meshoe, for your time. Do appreciate it. As you say there, for you, it's all about waiting. You're still going to peruse. You'll then, be open to talks and stuff. So let's see what the ACDP then decides in the long run on this one. That's ACDP on the multinational convention, Reverend Kenneth Meshoe.